We are back now with a longtime friend of this show, our former boss, Bob Wright. He served as president and CEO of NBC. He also co-founded Autism Speaks in an effort to help families like his own dealing with an autism diagnosis. Bob reflects on it all in his new book called The Wright Stuff. Bob, welcome back to the building. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Matt. It's terrific to be back. It's just great to be here. I think one of the last times I was here, we had Milton Berle and Sid Caesar arguing.
I remember that fondly. You know, you've done so much and did so much at NBC, and yet when I read portions of this book, it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that what you seem to be the proudest of is the work you've done post-NBC.
Well, that was something we did not intend to do. That came to us, autism, that came to us, and it was something that we made a determination that we would tackle it, and I had a lot of help from Bernie Marcus, Phil Geyer, Mel Karmazan, Andrew Robertson, really fine people that said, okay, we'll put this together and we'll really work hard on it.
Let's make sure people understand when your grandson was diagnosed, Christian.
He was 2.5.
Right, and there really wasn't a place to turn back then. People weren't talking about autism the way they talk about it today. Partly they talk about it today because of the work you've done. Where did you know how to turn?
Well, that was exactly why we did it. We couldn't believe it. The diagnosis took like 3 or 4 days at Columbia, and I was on the board, and it cost me $12,000. And they said, you know, I'm sorry, we really, we don't treat autism. We don't have any tools, and we don't have, quite frankly, any reimbursement from insurance. So you really can't get treated here. You have to go out and find therapists and
You're on your own, basically, is what they were saying.
You're on your own.
I've known you for a long time, Bob. I've also known your wife, Suzanne, for a very long time. You call her your North Star.
Right.
And can you describe, I remember when Christian was diagnosed, Suzanne went on a mission. And I mean that in the best possible way. What did having someone like her in those early days mean to this effort? Oh,
it was critical. Couldn't have done it without her. She was the empathy, the face, the passion face, and went out and did all of the work with Andrew Robertson and BBD&O to all of this, create this enormous amount of media about autism. And she was the one that went to the schools, and she was the one that went to a lot of people to really encourage them to get involved.
Please help me with this controversy that's come up again in the last couple of days about autism and childhood vaccines. There's a film out now. One of the people behind it is Dr. Andrew Wakefield, who's been widely discredited by scientific studies, but it has people asking the question again, do childhood vaccines cause autism? As a man who's done so much in the effort to educate people, what's the definitive answer?
There is no definitive answer, but we have not been able to determine that autism is caused by vaccines. However, there are lots of issues having to do with the vaccine safety program that I got into very deeply with you know, no agenda early on in autism. And we proposed, along with a series of doctors, some changes that could be made. If vaccine safety, it's a passive program, and if you made it an active program, I think that would make it better for everybody. But as far as the, there's no direct tie to autism, but there, you know, there is $100 million a year that the vaccine court pays out to people from damages with vaccines, not specifically autism, but a lot of them. So there's always going to be an issue with vaccines because all vaccines are the same and all people receiving them are different.
I mentioned Suzanne a second ago, your wife. In many ways, the book is a love letter to Suzanne, who is now battling cancer.
She has pancreatic cancer. October 29th was the worst day of my life. That's last October 2015, and she was diagnosed right here in New York with pancreatic cancer. And it's stage 4, as most of the diagnoses are. It's metastasized. And that gives you a lifespan without chemo of maybe 3 to 5 months, and maybe with chemo a year or so. So it's a terribly difficult thing, and I'm now pouring myself into this because it's her.
Right.
And it's just very difficult.
Will you do me a favor and tell her we love her?
I certainly will.
And we're thinking of her?
I will.
Bob, it's always good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
The book is called The Wright Stuff.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.